This is the first in a series of tutorials on using GraphPad. When we first open GraphPad, we'll see a set of switches along the top. These control the mode and how the application is going to behave when we touch the screen. Most of our creation is going to happen in lines mode. And to create a line, all we do is touch the screen and drag. We'll notice that the length and the angle are automatically being populated. If we touch an endpoint and drag, we'll see that we still have that. And we can also see that the angle is automatically snapping to increments of 45 degrees. This is a unique feature of GraphPad and is controlled under the points mode, where we see the angle snap, where we can set it to off, 10, 30, or 45 degrees. As we go through our creation, we'll notice Magenta Guidelines appearing. These make it very easy to create square geometries. Now, we created this series of points and lines, and all these are actually connected, and we can show that by going into our parameters and turning our IDs on. We now see we have 5 lines connected by exactly 5 points. Because we have everything connected up properly, it makes it very easy to do calculations. And so we'll demonstrate that by touching an object, going into dimensions and touching an object, and now we calculate a length. We touch a corner and we calculate an angle, etc. We can manipulate lines primarily by going into points mode and creating a selection area. To create a selection area, all we do is we touch a point of the screen that has no objects on it and then drag. We'll see this gray area appear, and when we release, we'll notice that all the points in that gray area are highlighted. That means they're active. We can manipulate what points are active by touching the screen and turning everything off, touching them, turning everything on, or touching an individual point to toggle it on and off. So we'll touch these 2 points, and now we just have one active point. We can now manipulate it by touching anywhere inside the gray area and dragging. And we'll notice that we have guidelines appear and all our dimensions are automatically updated. The guidelines show that all of the points that are active are now being compared to all the points that are inactive and finding the closest alignment and then snapping everything into alignment. So as we release, we'll see that that point snapped into alignment and our dimensions adjusted accordingly. This makes it very powerful in terms of lining things and creating geometry. Now what we also should have noticed is that as we created our geometry in this case, we notice it's not snapping to a logical increment. We can adjust this snap by going into this tool here and playing with the different parameters. Now the reason why it's snapping to, and we can see it right here, 1 3/16 of an inch is because we have 1 foot divided by 10 equal divisions. So typically what we're going to do for feet and inches is divide by 12, and now it's going to snap to exactly 1 inch. And we can demonstrate that by touching and dragging, and we'll see it's snapping in increments of 1 inch. We also see the maximum width and the maximum height. Now keep in mind that this is essentially a pad of graph paper. So what we're producing here is going to be a printout of a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So if we have 10 pixels in grid size for each one of our small divisions, and we have 12 divisions in 1 foot, the maximum width is now 5 feet and the maximum height is 6 feet 8 inches. We can increase the size of the object we're drawing in a couple of ways. We can take the scale slider and move it across, and now we're having each large area being 2 feet, and now our snap is 2 inches. Or we can take our grid size and we can actually decrease or increase it. So if we decrease our grid size, we notice that the grid's got finer and the maximum width is now 20 feet by 26 and 8 inches. And that does give us a little bit of a margin around the page. So you can play with these scales in order to find the perfect setting for what you're trying to draw. For business, it's probably going to be something that you're going to set once, and then all your drawings will come up. So to save these settings, all we do is go into our parameters and hit save. It should be noted that when the app opens, it's going to go back to the default, but every time you open a new document, it will take those existing settings. And of course, if you saved a document and it had certain settings to it, it would go to the settings associated with that particular document. And that's all I have for this first tutorial. Thank you.